week on Dirt Every Day, we're doing an LS swap out of a Jeep, and we're putting this Willys wagon on a Wrangler chassis. So Dave, what's your plan with this I-beam underneath the frame here?
So the trick here is to make sure that we have an I-beam that's stronger than the frame. Wrap some chains around it and use a bottle jack, and we should, if it all works out right, push the dent back out of that frame.
Going good.
Good.
It seems to move more when you hit it with the hammer than use the clamp. We figured out that
The frame is diamond.
the frame is not square. So this is what we're gonna do. We're hooking a chain to that end, we're hooking the high lift jack to this end, and as we jack this and we bring the jack up,
It's going to shorten that distance.
it'll shorten that distance and pull the frame back into alignment. Building a Jeep in your garage. Oh,
Yeah, it'll go.
this week on Dirt Every Day, Fred gets decapitated by a high lift jack and a chain while Dave hides behind my brand new Ben Pack lift. Thank you, Ben Pack, for helping us out. We're professionals here. Dude, this looks great. This
know.
looks factory now.
We did something.
We're in the situation where it looks good even if it isn't good,
Yeah, that's fine.
which is like what every other car show does, right? So the wheelbase on the wagon is 103.5. And the wheelbase on the little Jeep is 93.5. So if you do the math, this is a really easy one. 103.5 minus 93.5 is 10.
Gonna stretch the frame 10 inches.
That's a 20-inch piece of 2-inch by 3-inch rectangular square tube. We're gonna use this inside the frame rails. This will help align everything and then we'll plug weld it in place. We're really finding a lot of calculation problems because this frame was bent to start with, but that's always the gamble you go with when you're buying a wrecked vehicle. And we're measuring things that have been abused off-road, wrecked once, maybe twice. We're just kind of doing the best we can with what we have. We put a piece of 2x3 inside the frame rails. We're capping it with pieces of 2x4 that we're kind of cutting. On the inside, we'll do it's called a fish plate, and it will run all the way over the entire seam. Only that plate will be able to tell you that this was one time cut and stretched. She turns nice and tight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting rad. It's doing little peel out things. There's a good crossing right there.
Is that a beaver?
Yeah. This is why we can't have anything nice, 'cause four-wheeling's fun. There it is. This is soft. Woo! We're actually four-wheeling now. It looks like the tires are working good even though there's street pressure. They're like flexing around and stuff.
That front locker is the way to go.
I know.
I think we did good, Dave.
We did.
This thing works rad.
We built something out of two nothings. There will be some old purist types that will be upset that you put modern Jeep parts into your old Jeep body, but they also won't be able to keep up with you on the freeway.
Well, and the other thing is that those guys probably don't have the internet. Putting some rugged ridge skid plates underneath the transfer case, the transmission, and the engine oil pan. You probably recall in other episodes of Dirt Every Day where I've driven over things and smashed oil pans and then been stuck out in the middle of nowhere. We're gonna put this on and then we're gonna lower the Jeep down and get the bumpers put on and put our front winch on and start moving up from the bottom.
There it is.
So we have the bumper, there's the brackets on the frame. The shackles mount through the bumper into the brackets on the frame. And when you're doing this, you want to make sure every bolt is loose so that you can wiggle it around and get it all lined up. So watch your fingers. Oh, beautiful. Dave, did this need to go on first?
Probably. Yeah. Keep going, you got it. Back up.
Realign.
This is a little more technical than I was ready for.
Yeah, you got it. You got this, Dave. You're a pro. Keep going. Perfect, right here. Ah, look at this. So much urban off-roading. We got telephone poles, big rubble pile full of concrete, some mud bogging. What are you looking at?
I smashed the front end.
Is it all right?
It looks good.
Laughed it off. My turn. I'm driving off this cliff. I got it. Day in the 60s. Hill climb.
Maybe we can drive down that, Dave?
Are you serious, Fred?
How's it look?
It looks bad, Fred. A little driver if you can.
See, let's hold it up on this side.
It's hung up really bad on the belly, and all this old concrete and mud is not, it's not sticking around long enough for it to get traction to pull either forward or back. So we're gonna need to get the camera crew out here to take care of this for us while we go get coffee. Oh, that might be it.
All right, now everybody get out of the way. Oh, there's that stupid rock that was hanging me up.
Yeah, hard passenger. There you go. All right, cool. Passenger. Perfect. Woo! This is just like normal off-roading, but kind of a little sketchier here.
Tube sock is going back together. We have the Cummins engine in. The NV3550 transmission is in. It's all adapted together. New motor mounts, new cross member. Our Atlas transfer case is in there. We're gonna bring it back out once, fill it up with oil, seal it all up with run the vent lines, and bolt that back in. Steve has been going over the entire engine. You can see here all of the little connectors. He has taken them apart, put dielectric grease in there, put them back together, and then marked them with a blue paint pen. So we know that every connector has been packed full of grease, which will help seal out moisture. We bolted the grill back in. This is a brand new 4-liter radiator. We're gonna run the 4-liter radiator because in most cases we think guys will be going from a 4-liter to this Cummins, and we wanna be able to try and figure out which hoses. We also are gonna run our intercooler pipe over here. It'll actually run over the top of the engine. This is not optimal for off-road use or highway use, but for what we're doing when we're driving underwater, we're not even gonna put an intercooler in, we're just gonna run a piece of tubing over to dump from the turbo to the inlet. So we're gonna figure out some hoses, a lot of hoses. We gotta figure out all of our hoses for vents and coolant and everything else that needs a hose. Okay, I'm gonna try and start this thing.
Fred's suiting up. Fred's rolling in. This is getting exciting again. so much better than last time. I think it's the whole man-made concrete pond thing that makes it better. Can you see me? Because I can see you super clear. Anyone on the dive team have a copy? Fred needs you to close the hood. The hood flipped up. You would think, like, of all the issues to have, latching the hood down closed would be not one we would have. Your Jeep is backing up. You know you're backing up, right?
Unfortunately, our JK is a little bit different than stock. And bring it down, back up. Down with your bad self. This Jeep, as you can tell, is kind of unusual. What you can see is we took a stock two-door JK a couple years ago, cut it in half, and grafted another front end on the back of the Jeep. The reason we did that was we wanted to build something really unusual that everybody would notice. We also wanted to put rear steer on the Jeep at the time. Going with these Dana axles, we're removing the rear steer, but when we built that Jeep, we actually dovetailed the whole frame in and added a front frame section to the back of the original two-door JK. So all of the suspension mounts are a little bit different than a stock JK. So Rob's got the Dana 60 over there. He's cutting off the stock brackets. Those brackets would usually bolt right into a JK. Of course, our JK is different. Mike's working on the front end. He is getting the front axle over there, and that's gonna bolt right in. As you can see from a lot of these link mounts, they're all scratched up from getting drug over rocks. So the rear suspension is now gonna be a 3-link with a track bar. That means we have to mount this center link on that rear Dana 60 that Rob's working on. Usually a JK has a 4-link and a track bar. So we're gonna put an axle truss on it and mount the rear upper link on the top of that axle truss. You got this. You got it. Any second now.
All right. Hey, you want to give me lug nuts?
This is my lawyer. I got my lawyer to come all the way out here to help put on lug nuts. It's probably gonna cost me like $1,000 an hour to have him. All right, let's do this. Ready? Oh yeah, why don't we just lower the Jeep down?
No.
No.
Because that would be sensible. Here.
We really only need 3.
That's $100.
Thanks. Get out of here, lawyer. After 14 some hours of driving, we finally made it to my favorite little red rock town in Utah, Moab. Unfortunately, Tony couldn't make it out with us on the very first trail ride, so I took the little orange Jeep out by myself to see how the new axles would hold up. We are on the 4-wheel parts run. We're taking our JK. We got the Dana Ultimate Dana 60s underneath it. The guys from Synergy helped us out. Tom Woods came through at the end of the day and got us some awesome drive shafts. They're bolted in. We're gonna catch up with the group. We're gonna go 4-wheeling and we're gonna see what our little Jeep will do now with its brand new axles. If you're new to off-roading, you may be asking why you should upgrade to bigger Dana 60 axles. The short answer is larger axles allow you to run larger tires, and thus try harder off-road obstacles and do it all with a sense of security that you'll get home safely. Of course, anything can be broken with enough abuse, but stepping up to Dana 60s with lockers and gears over the stock Dana 30 and 44 axles in a Wrangler will let you enjoy harder terrain, the type of stuff you find all over Moab. Do-do-do-do-do.